So my name is Tony Gonzalez from This is Rock, and today we are talking to Simon McBride, who released a new recording. The name is Recording 2020-2025 on March 14 through earMUSIC. Hello, Simon.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very, very good. Very good.
Perfect. The first idea that I have when I receive the recording is that now you get more free time than before working in Deep Purple. How can you do it?
Um, well, this year was quite quiet for Deep Purple, so it was kind of the perfect year to kind of, do some stuff of my own and release, other stuff. To be honest, I'm always kind of writing and recording stuff while I go along, on tour or whatever, or even before tour. A lot of the stuff this record recordings was basically done, before Deep Purple. Um, it's called Recordings 2020 to 2025. The reason it's called to 2025 is because the last song was only mixed in January this year. So that's why it's taken that while. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of free time this year, which is it's gives me a time to do my own thing, which I'm looking forward to.
But I told you this not only for your new recording, it's because you also have time to write and play in the new Don Airey recording, Push to the Edge. How was the experience?
Well, that album was actually done years ago too. It was done. My part in it was done before COVID, so it was quite a while back, but that was a lot of fun doing that record. I love working with Don. Don's the professor, as I call him. He's a genius, and I love, he's writing music with him is very easy, and it's always challenging, which I like a good challenge because he writes some crazy stuff, and it's like, okay, I got to play that. Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that record. It was just very interesting hearing it now after so many years of it not being around. So yeah.
So we interviewed Don some days ago, and he told us that you participate in the writing process. Tell me, is the writing process different with Don Airey than Deep Purple?
Yeah, everybody's different in how they approach things. With Deep Purple, it's completely different. Deep Purple, it's like the five of us just get in a room and with our instruments, and we just sit there. And then somebody else, we could sit there for an hour and nobody will play anything. And I'll be on my phone or somebody or whatever, and then somebody will just start playing something, and it was like, oh, we'll maybe join in, and that's where it happens. It happens very naturally, very organic. Um, Whereas writing with Dawn, it's a little bit different. It's a bit more, he would have pre-constructed ideas, and so would I, and we would just go in and just we put a basic idea down, and then he would turn it into a song. He would take it away and add all his extra stuff to it. Um, whereas, as I said, with the Deep Purple thing, it's a case of just let's go in and see what happens, and it's it's you have to not be afraid of not writing something. You will get periods where it'll be 2, 3 hours, and we won't have wrote anything, but that's normal. If it's not happening, it's not happening. But yeah, everybody's different when how they write stuff.
When you were working in the Don Airey recording, were moments for improvisation or all was perfectly marked?
No, it's all well when it comes to guitar solos, everything's just kind of improvised. Um, everything you write is improvised to some degree because you have to improvise the stuff to come up with an idea. You can't really sit down and just come up with something on the spot. You just have to play, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not good. But yeah, so all Dawn stuff, all the guitar solos and stuff, that was just me in the studio, just play the track and just I'll play whatever comes out, and then sometimes it's good and you take the good parts and then you go, okay, well, keep those and I'll add a little bit to them or whatever, you know. So it's the same with anything, whether it's my own stuff or whether it's Deep Purple. Sometimes you can be lucky enough to just go, just play the track and I'll play whatever, and it's one take and it's good. But sometimes it's not so good, you know. So it's luck.
The first single taken from this new recording was Ordinary World from Duran Duran. I
Yep.
know at the beginning I was really amazed. Huh? But then I know that in your previous interview 2 years ago, you told me that your musical interests are wider. Please tell me about playing that song. Why did you take it? Tell me.
Well, yeah, as I said before, you know, I listen to all types of music, you know, and for this record, the choice of songs, you know, it was people ask me why didn't I do more rock songs? And I was like, well, I don't know how to turn a rock song into another rock song, you know, and I don't believe in doing direct copies of other people's songs because to me, you're trying to compete with the original artist and their version of the song, and you can never compete with the original artist because they wrote it and they created it. So the likes of Ordinary World, I've always loved the song. I thought it was a great song, and I always thought, you know, it's a pop song for a start. And but once you strip everything away from a song, from for example, the production, that 80s kind of 90s production of that song, all the keyboards, everything, you strip it right down to the basic bare bones, which is just a bunch of chords, a vocal melody, and some lyrics. It's a great song. So then you have a platform, you can just go, okay, let me try this in a bit more rock thing. So, and I try to do that with all the songs. I always like to do a little bit different. If I'm going to take somebody else's song, I don't want to play their version. I want to play my version. You know, and it just so happens I find it easier to do that with songs which are not really rock songs. They're more pop songs or whatever type of songs, you know. So, yeah.
Let me confess you, I started playing the recording, and then while the music was going ahead, I take the information and I read that you play Kids Wanna Rock from Bryan Adams. And I
Mhm.
say, oh, Kids Wanna Rock, let me see. And I saw that is the track number 2. And I passed the track. I didn't recognize the song. So you are right when you tell me that you like to make your own version of the song. But tell me, is did you take this version, Brian Adam, the others is Uniform of Youth from Mr. Mister? Can we consider this band as an influence to you or just songs that you enjoy some years ago?
Yeah, you know, they're all influences to me in some shape or form. Mr. Mister, I love that band. That record they did, that big record, I could listen to that every day, so I could. So it was a huge, you know, influence on me musically and you know on songwriting and stuff like that. Um, but it's the same with Brian Adams too. Same, he's a great songwriter and he writes great songs and he's a great singer and so all of it is kind of an influence on me in some shape or form. Um, yeah, it's people find it strange. They go, Mister, Mister, you know, or Duran Duran. I'm like, well, yeah, why not? You know, it's uh, it's all great music. You know, it just because it was a period of time, and you know, it's a different period of time doesn't mean it's a bad song. It means it's just different, done in a different way. But yeah, Mister, Mister, that song. I took that one because, you know, I could have done the typical big hits like Kiri and stuff like that, but I was like, no, I want to take one of the songs which is off the record. And I always loved that song, Uniform of Youth, and because there's a cool guitar riff in it. And so I decided, because that band there's a lot of keyboards and a lot of synths. So I decided to strip it right down and strip all the synths out of it because I felt like, okay, if I'm going to play this live, I don't have a keyboard player in my band, so I have to just do it as guitar. So I did it, and I copied a lot of the keyboard parts and played them on the guitar, which was different again. So again, I'm still learning from doing that, you know, because keyboard players play in a different way to what a guitar player would play. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun doing all those different songs. People should try it. It's great crack.
The other tracks that are in the recording, can we consider new tracks even when they were written some years ago?
Yeah, the older stuff of mine, which well, this record is like it's in two halves basically. The first half is like the cover songs, right? And then the second half is kind of all my songs, but that is what you hear on the second half of that record is basically my band, the three of us live in studio. You know, we had about 3, 4 days off in the middle of a tour in 2020, I think, and we were up near Hamburg. So we went into Chameleon Studios for 3, 4 days, and the record company asked us, could we just record our set that we were doing live? So we did. We did 2 takes of our set, and that was it. So that's basically songs on those old songs. They're not the same as the records that were done before. There's all different parts to them and different sections and stuff. Because for live, I like to change things live because my attitude is when you go to see an artist live, I don't want to see them play exactly the same thing as on the record. You want to hear something a little bit different, and that's what I always try to do live. And like there's the track Hell Waters Rising. That version on this record is completely different to the original, completely different. Like I changed it completely, you know, because I had a different idea for it one day, and we changed it. And there's another track, So Much Love to Give. It's about 9 minutes long. When you get to about 4.5 minutes, we just kind of go. We're in the studio, just going right. Let's just improvise. Let's just go somewhere else. Let's just play and see what happens. We didn't. What's on that record is we didn't know we were going to play it at that time. So it's a case of whatever comes out comes out. And but yeah, they're old songs, but with different flavors to them.
Yes. So, but it wasn't clear to me. The songs were previously recorded?
Yes, I have records out from years ago, from like 2008, 2009. And there's about 3 or 4 albums, which are not, you can't get them anymore at the minute, but they may be released at some point again. But yeah, they were old songs of mine, which I had written a long time ago.
Ah, okay. Yes. I would like to ask you about some of these songs because to me are like new. Yes. Because me, as the rest, starting playing or catching your attention when they say that you were the new guitar player in Deep Purple. So, wow, let's see who is that guy. And for example, but one that I consider extremely beautiful is Love Songs that made me think of Gary Moore. Please, could you tell me about this song?
Well, yeah, that song was it was Dave, my bass player. He brought that song to me, and when I first heard it, I've heard it before. I just couldn't remember, but and I listened to it and I went, nope, I'm not doing this one. I don't know why. There was something about it. I thought, I can't hear anything. I don't know what I could do with it. So and we tried a lot of different things with that song, but nothing was working. But the last resort was, let's take the tempo of the song and slow it way down. So I did that. I played the little melody, which is normally played on some little keyboard instrument, I think. And all of a sudden, it immediately reminded me, as you say, Gary Moore and sort of melody that he would play for, like, say, Still Got the Blues or whatever other melodies. So I was like, we can do something with this. I get it. Okay, this can work. So I just decided, okay, we're going to do this. This has to be a big guitar ballad. And then we made it work. It was challenging to do it, because it was already quite a slow song vocally, so slowing it down even more was a bit of a challenge. But we changed some phrasing and stuff like that, I made it work, but I'm proud of that one. It turned out pretty well, considering it was never going to be on the album in the first place, But it's turned out pretty well.
I read on a website called Muse on Muse and they say that you play clever guitar solos. And I agree. Some,
Okay.
some guitar solos are explosive. I especially enjoy the Steeler guitar solo. And now that you told me that it's like a live recording, let me ask you, do you create, uh, usually, but in this song, where you stick it to the original guitar solo or you improvise in these recordings?
In this recordings, some stuff I improvise. Um, the problem is with improvisation, and what a lot of people don't realize is when you improvise, it's a 50-50 chance.
Mm,
50 chance, 50% chance it's going to be good, and 50% chance it's going to be bad. So it's always that gamble. Um, you know, I'm always much prefer to create a solo because I believe, solos on some records can be forgettable,
mm,
because it's just any old thing. It's just a guitar solo. Whereas the players I admire, like Steve Lukather and, Gary Moore and, guys like even Brian May, you listen to them, their solos, it's like a little piece of music within a piece of music. So it takes you on its own little journey of twists and turns and, can be quite explosive and, that sort of thing. So I much prefer to do that. But the only way you get to that stage is by improvisation at the start. As I said, you improvise a solo, maybe a bunch of solos, and you go, I like this part, that part, this part, put them all together, and you have this thing. So I uh I always try to structure a solo, you know, like a song. So it has an intro, a verse, a chorus, sort of thing. A very short song, but that's my idea of a guitar solo. Because every guitar solo I admire and I listen to, they're all the same. They have a structure, and they build and they build and they build and they take it somewhere, and I go, well, that's what I like, so that's what I'm going to do. You know, like sometimes when you go in the studio, you can improvise a guitar solo and you can get it in first take, and you go, brilliant, done. I've done it. I think on Give Me Something Good, that solo was first take. I just played whatever came into my mind, and that was first thing. Same with the Steeler. That was the Steeler, yes, it was first take. So sometimes you can be lucky enough. What you play first is great, but some of the other stuff you just have to work out a little bit more.
And this structure that you create makes you to memorize the solos, the guitar solos better.
Yeah, it's if everything has structure, it's easier to remember. If something's a bit more wild and just all over the place, it's hard to remember. It's like reading a story that doesn't make any sense. You're never going to remember it because it doesn't make any sense to you, So it's the same with music.
Everybody was happy with your performance on Equal One. And in your concert in Spain, the audience was pretty amazed with your personal guitar style playing Deep Purple classic songs.
Mhm.
How do you see yourself inside Deep Purple after 2 years?
How do I see myself? I just basically, it's a weird thing because going when I joined Deep Purple, I never thought in a million years that my name would be attached to such an iconic band ever. But now I don't even think about it. It's like, yeah, it's just the guys. Just, the guys. I'm in Deep Purple. I don't, I feel like I'm part of the band, which I am, because the guys, when everybody makes you feel that way and they wouldn't want it any other way. Um, so I just relax and I do my own thing. And when it comes to other songs, like the older songs that Richie played on, I take bits of what he had done and just incorporate it into what I do. And yeah, because I'm part of the band, and so I have to make it my own in a way, So because that's what's expected. You have to be your own person, and I don't expect to be Richie. I don't expect to be Steve, and I don't think anybody else expects me to be them. So but it's good fun. We all get on. we all get on very well, and you know, we have after each show we have a few beers, go to the bar or whatever, you know, and it's a bit of crack.
I understood that when you are playing your guitar solos on Deep Purple, you are not concerning about, wow, this is, we need to follow the steps of Blackmore or Morse or whatever. But for example, when you conceive a guitar solo from Deep Purple, did you follow the same step that when you conceive the guitar solo from your own band?
Yeah, generally, if I compose a guitar solo for like a song on the album I did equals one, I will try to play it live, you know, because if I my theory is if I've spent all that time composing a guitar solo and it's got to this it's it, and if it's a great solo, I say, well, why would I try to change it live for something that may be inferior? You know, it's you know, people have paid a lot of money to come see Deep Purple or see, you know, and so they want to hear what's on the record. You know, sometimes there, you know, there is certain songs within a set you can play with, you can improvise, and you can change up a little bit, and so there is a place for it for improvisation. But a lot of the time, I try to play what I've created, you know. Um, it's the same with like earlier Deep Purple stuff, like what Richie did, like Highway Star, the guitar solo on that. I'm not going to change that because that's a composed piece of music within a song. That's like asking Ian Gillan to change the words. He's not going to do that. You know, you can't change that solo. It's an iconic piece of music. So I play it as it is. But there's other songs, they like say Smoke on the Water, I have room to play around with, or even Lazy. There's a whole I can do what I want in that, you know. So there's a time and place for everything is basically what I'm saying.
Some people were concerning before watching you on tour or see you on the stage with the band that the combination between the Hammond organ and guitars, that is one of the highlight of the Purple ensemble. It was easy for you to do it during the live concert and the recording of Equal One for the first track in Equal One, have a duel between keyboards and guitar that is extraordinarily good. So it
Yeah,
was easy for you.
yeah, it's easy. You know, I played with Dawn for a long time, so I know what to expect. I know, you know, with you know the Deep Purple thing, the Hammond is a big part of the sound. And with the Equals One record, it was you know we do a lot of interchanging solos and stuff, and you know that was my idea just to do that because I thought, well, let's do something different rather than just a guitar solo and then a keyboard solo. Let's go, you play something, I play something, you know, back and forth, a little bit of interplay, something that's a little bit different. It's, you know, because I'm not precious. I don't have an ego when it comes to guitar. I don't care who plays. I don't care if I have a guitar solo or not. You know that, you know, so it's a case of let's do something that, you know, the fans want to hear. And so the interplay between Dawn and me is it's easy for us because we know each other so well, you know, musically and off the stage as well. So it's quite easy for us to just do what we do. You know, we generally don't think about it too much. You know, there's a lot of respect there for both for him and myself. So I just if he comes up with something and he plays it, and I'll go, well, cool, I'll do that too. You know, it's cool. You know, so but it's easy.
Yes. Don't you need to see his eyes and he doesn't need to see yours to know where to give you the opportunity or he wants to enter?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like a kind of yeah. He knows what I'm going to play, and I know what he's going to play generally. You know, because that's what happens when you play with someone for a long time. You kind of get used to what they're going to do. You know, and that's what makes a team, makes a band. You know, it's that confidence in each other as a player, and you know, relaxation that you know. Okay, I'm safe. I know what he's going to do. I know even if he plays something different, I know it's going to be brilliant. You know, it's Don Airey, for God's sake. He play anything and it's brilliant. You know, it's the same with the rest of the guys too. You know, it's yeah, it's a safe environment. musically.
Yeah. Do you usually pay attention to the reviews from the concerts that you have done with Purple or something like that? Things like that?
Do I pay attention? Well, yes and no. There's always people that are gonna not like it or not like me, which is fine. I can't please everybody, but fortunately enough, everybody has been very supportive. I'm very, impressed with what I've done and whatnot. But we are just people. We're just musicians. At the end of the day, we just have to get on with it, irregardless of what people write about us, or reviews of gigs. Because if I looked at every review and every bad review or whatever, I wouldn't be playing anymore. So you can't live your life by that. You have to have this inner confidence in yourself to just go, okay, I know what I can do. I know what I can't do. I'm going to play. I'm going to do this, and that's it. You just have to get on with it, not think about somebody's review. As I say, because you can't please everybody in this world.
I ask you because I read a review, maybe you didn't know. And this review, they say that in concert, you look like better than Steve Morse. And the reason is that you are British like the rest. And Steve Morse was American. And now that everybody are British again in Deep Purple, the music much better. What do you think? Because you are Irish.
Well, well, yeah, Steve's American. There is a difference culturally, between United Kingdom and America, and musically too. American guitarists are different to British guitarists. American guitarists are probably more polished and a bit more smooth and, a bit more refined, whereas British guitarists are probably a bit more raw, a bit more on the edge, I think. And I think it's the same with drummers too. A lot of American drummers are really amazing, but a lot of English drummers have this thing. I don't know what it is. It's a thing that American drummers don't have. But both are equally amazing. It's just a different. It just depends where you come from. I think the fact that everybody in Deep Purple is all from the United Kingdom, it's one unit now. Whereas it was before, it was everybody was from the UK, and then there was Steve from America, which is. But that was great too. It's that variety, that difference that Steve brought to this band, which is really cool. He different influences than what I have, and different player to what I am. But what he did was really amazing. And then it was a different vibe to Deep Purple. So, but if people think it's better with me, that's better. That's fine with me. I'm happy with that.
Yes, yes. I have seen that you will be touring in March and April, but for the moment, the dates are only in UK. Are you going to come to the continent?
Yes, we have a few shows in Europe. We have one in France, in Germany, and Belgium. It's only a really small tour at the minute, but I have other stuff lined up for the rest of the year. So people will have to just keep an eye on my website or whatever, or online to see what's coming up.
Do you know if there are plans for this 2025 from Deep Purple or Don Airey band touring?
I don't know with Dawn stuff. He possibly. I haven't heard anything, so there could be some stuff. I don't really know. Deep Purple, we have some shows this year. Uh, we decided to take just a little bit of time off, um, just because we had last year was so busy, and next year is really busy as well in 2026. So we have a couple of one-off shows in June, and then we have some stuff in November, and then from November onwards, it's quite busy right through to 2026. So yeah, but this year I'm just focusing on doing my own thing, and yeah.
Yes. In this situation, in the tour with your own band, are you going to be more focused in this new recording or the usual set list?
Um I'll play. No, I always like to add new stuff to a set. My set will be very similar to what I've done before, but with addition of other new songs. And I probably throw in some, you know, Deep Purple songs, a couple, just because I appreciate there'd be a lot more Deep Purple fans there at some of my shows. So just to give them some of that. But yeah, it's I always like to change it up a little bit. There'd be a lot of songs off the Fighter album and this record and some old stuff, and then who knows what we'll get? I don't know.
If you don't know, nobody knows.
No, that's
No,
it.
no. So, Simon, those were our questions. Thank you very much for your time. I
Oh,
appreciate this moment.
no, cheers, man. Cheers. It was fun.
Yes, hope to see you in this tour, maybe this year, maybe next year. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows is right. Yeah. All right, man. Cool.
Okay, bye.
All right. Cheers. Bye, 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 bye.